Welcome everyone to Sysco Canada's virtual kitchen. We got a special edition show today. Special show. Chef, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So we're going to talk today, folks, about pizza and profits and everything you need to know. You're a pizza master, hey chef?
I try to think I am.
I think you are. I read your stuff. So chef, do you want to talk a little bit about what we're going to be going through today and your history and what got you into pizza? Because it's an interesting story. It's an interesting story.
Absolutely. I'd like to introduce myself, and actually one of my colleagues I have with me today, because he's going to be in and out of the frame. Come on, Christopher, come on over here. So this is Christopher Quinn. He's one of my managers. He'll be assisting us today. So in case you see him around, that's who he is. Thanks, man. So just for arguments, like for knowledge base, this is how we dress when we operate with the masks. We're obviously not open today to the public, so we're going to do this.
All right.
To communicate.
A little easier.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm Maurizio. Pleasure to have everybody here today. It's great to connect with fellow entrepreneurs and colleagues in the industry. And because of the unique situation we're all in, I don't feel that other pizzerias are competition, rather allies and colleagues. So anything that I can share that we've been able to stay afloat and keep our doors open, I am willing to and very warm welcome to share with you. So a quick introduction. I've been in pizza now for 7 years. Owner of an operator of Maurizio's Pizzeria in Parry Sound. We're a member of the Canadian Culinary Federation. I'm also an instructor and skills coach with the School of Italian Pizza in Toronto. It's not only skills, but I teach the back end, how to really run a pizzeria, where to make money, where, the pitfalls, what to look out for, marketing, enormous amount of back end information that really will drive you forward in the pizza industry. I'm a guest columnist for the Canadian Pizza Magazine. And we've won several national and international awards. So that's the back end. What we're going to talk about today is a couple of things. One, we're going to do a quick demonstration on how to hand stretch a pizza. This is kind of cool because you know what? There's many ways to do it. There's not a wrong way. There's not maybe a right way, but whatever you feel most comfortable with to get the best product out. So I'll show you my technique on how I do it, how I learned. And then maybe you might pick up a few tricks along the way. The second part, which I feel is most important, is the concepts that we apply here at Maurizio's Pizzeria, both in front end and back end. So when I teach the course in Toronto for entrepreneurs that want to open up a pizzeria, there's 12 key elements that I teach in respects to how to propel your business for the best success. Because when you're successful, as a teacher, I'm successful. So we're going to talk about 3 points of those 12 key points that I normally talk about. So we're going to talk about marketing and advertising. We're going to talk about product creation with little or no extra added costs to your menu, which sounds quite impossible, but it's quite doable. And most importantly, we're going to talk about food costing and the formulas that pertain to those, because we don't know how much it's costing us to make something. Then we don't really know how much we're spending, our added costs, how much is going towards the business or how much is not going towards the business. So those food costs are extremely important for us, for our survival. So that's essentially what we're going to cover today. We're going to have fun.
Awesome.
And it'll be probably a couple bloopers, but whatever.
and the big thing about our show, to all the people that are viewing, you can ask us questions. We have comments, so send in comments, questions for us, for Chef, and we'll see if we can stump them. I don't know if we will, but we want to make it interactive and really enjoy yourselves today. And Chef, thanks again for doing this for us today.
Absolutely. And you know what? Any questions you guys want to ask, or ladies, outside of what we're talking about right now, by all means, if I have the answer for it, I'll give it to you.
I love the fact that you have our logo on your jacket too.
What's that? Sorry?
I love the fact you have our logo on your jacket too.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, wrong arm. There we go.
There you go. There you go. There you go. All
So
good.
funny thing is when I want the reason why the logo's on my jacket is because being part of the Culinary Federation, I won a championship in Toronto, and they flew me to Europe to compete on their behalf, and I won gold. I won gold a couple times and silver. And Sysco was kind enough to help sponsor that quest. So so I represent Sysco as best as I possibly can. I'm very grateful for their contribution in that event.
Awesome. Well, let's start.
All right, excellent.
So, Chef, do you want all the cameras on?
Sorry, say again. Cameras. Let's do the overhead view, and we'll keep just the direct view on. Leave the wide, and we'll put the oven view on as well.
There we go.
So
Chef geeked out on cameras.
All right, excellent. So this is fresh dough. This was made last night. So that still needs approximately another 12 hours to proof. This dough here was made Thursday, which is not good for pizza. I would not use this for pizza. It's way too relaxed and way too over maturated.
Can you use it for anything, Chef?
I can, and that's part of the second part of our talk. How to minimize waste and add new product without little or no added cost. And that's what's great about pizzas, because it can turn to anything. And I'll get to that after.
Okay.
So this dough has been already maturing for. Oh, did that camera die? Oh, you got? Okay.
No.
This dough's maturing now for about 24 hours. Pretty soft, pretty loose. What I normally do is I absolutely kill it with flour. Now, when I make my dough, obviously it's 100% 00 flour. This is the kind of flour I use right here. This pizza. We import that from Italy as well. Very, very good product. So what you want to do is, see the flour kind of looks yellowish, and there's a reason for that. We do a mix of 50-50, so half 00 and half semolina. And the benefit of having the semolina in there is that it doesn't burn in the oven if you have a little bit extra left on your dough. Now, I started that a little fast. Let me do that over. So,
hey, Chef.
Yes.
The camera's stalling, so can you go to your main camera?
Say again?
There we go. Can you go to the main camera?
Yeah. So the
that one right
there is stalling?
Yeah, they're sticking a little. So if you can just go to the main one.
Storm here. So my apologies.
That's okay. We got the forno.
Exactly. So here we go. This is
Perfect.
the dough that is proofed for about 24 hours now. So what you want to do is, as you take it out, you put the peel under, or the scraper under it, and then you put your hand under the avoid part. Sorry, I can't show it. There we go. So that's how it should look. This is the flour. It's a 50-50 mix I was mentioning, so half farina or half 00 and half semolina.
You can get that anywhere, Chef?
Absolutely. Yeah, Sysco sells it. That's where I buy mine.
Good answer.
Where else would you buy it? Come on, that's the question.
That was a little trivia. Trivia.
All right, we back on the upper view? Okay, good. So this is how I stretch my flour. Or stretch my dough rather. So you make a little mound. You put the dough ball on top, and when you press, you try to keep your 2 index fingers together, like that. Is that overview camera working? Yeah. Okay, good. So,
yeah, it's kind of sticking.
All right. So you know what? Maybe kill the direct view one, and just use the overview. See if that works.
It won't.
So as you press, you try not to hit the edge. You don't want to hit the edge. So if you hit the edge, you're going to kill the crust, and then you just have a cracker, and we don't make crackers. So the pizza that we specialize in is traditional thin crust, not Neapolitan, traditional, also known as classic pizza. So as you press, you use the base of your fingers, and you keep on going around in a circle until you get to about 6 to 8 inches in diameter. And I'm gonna. Okay, good. You can see me now. Okay. So
now, chef, is that something that you do with big pizzas? Like, is that you do that same technique with all pizza?
absolutely, all my pizza that I sell
Yeah.
is the exact same technique. Okay. The one thing you want to do is when you operate a pizzeria, try to have one technique and stick with it. Because what happens is at the end you're going to have a creation based on that technique. If you start switching up your technique too often, then the pizza will look different. And then what happens is you don't have consistency, visual consistency with your customers. And customers will recognize that. And they'll think negatively. And they always think negatively. So what you want to do is you want to minimize that negative thought. Oh, there's a different chef on. Or there's a different chef, there's a different worker on. Or they've changed their style around. Or whatever the case may be. If you start one way, keep that one way. But make sure it's effective and efficient as possible for you. In the beginning, when you start, there's a lot of trial and error. But once you figure out your method, stick with the method. So once I get to about 6, 8 inches, I stop, make the mound again, I flip it over. Now here's the interesting thing. Here, very very smooth, very rough. So the rough side goes up now, and that's where we're going to put our toppings. Because once it's cooked, and you were to lift the slice in the air underneath, you'll want to see a smooth base. So that smooth base gives you an even cook throughout the entire pizza. If you had the rough side down, because there's dimples all over the place, some areas would be overcooked and other places would be undercooked, and you don't want that. And when you have the rough side up and it's going to get covered by toppings, Christopher, I need sausage and speed, please. When you get the rough side up, then it's getting covered by toppings anyway, so no one's going to see it. So this is for stretching. It's called the kind of the over-counter stretch, where you just use gravity to knock off any extra semolina. So cool. On top of that, when and you're left with about 12 inches of a pizza. So I've actually timed myself. I can probably stretch a pizza in about 11 seconds. We do approximately 30 to 30 pizzas every hour. And the reason why I don't do more than that is because I always like to give myself a little bit of room for error. Somebody could drop a pizza, or we can mess up a topping, or we forget a topping, or whatever the case may be. You never want to maximize your output to the brink where if you have an error, then now you cause a catastrophic backlog in your orders. The customers don't care. They want their pizza when they've ordered it. So what I always like to do is under promise, over deliver. So if I tell them the pizza will be ready in a half an hour and it's ready in 15 minutes, you look like a hero.
Yeah.
If you tell them it'll be ready in 15 minutes, but now it's 20 minutes, guess what? You're the bad guy.
That's the pizza master secret.
That's it. Under promise, over deliver. Because you know what, honestly, if you don't have customer service, you don't have a business.
Yeah.
Simple. You can have the best product in the world, the best flavor, the best decor. Spend $10 million on your venue. If you don't have customer service, you're done. So this is a ladle that I specifically use. This is part of my food costing. Every time I fill up this ladle, it's exactly 4 ounces of tomato sauce. So
you know exactly what the cost that is.
What's that?
And you know exactly what that costs you.
Exactly. I know exactly how much that tomato sauce cost me. And then I'll tell you right now, it cost me 16 cents.
16 cents.
And then you add all that together, and that creates your food cost. So, and then when we do our cheese, I don't know if you can see on the overhead view, but I have my cheese at the end over here.
Yeah.
It's actually sitting on a scale. So I zero out the cheese, and I know that my cheese, I use approximately 160 grams per pizza. There's no more, oh, it's only a handful of sauce or a handful of cheese. Well, my hand is much larger than another staff member's hand.
I was gonna say when we used to hire people with small hands.
You're right.
That's how you cut your food cost.
But then what happens is you create inconsistencies.
Yeah.
Right. So one time the customer will have a lot of cheese, and then one time the customer will have like almost no cheese. And then when you do that, again, inconsistencies, and customers get very upset. This way, if I make one pizza today and I am open for another, I will be open for another, 20 years, and I make, on that 20-year pizza, I make another pizza. It's exactly the same as the pizza I made today.
Do you see that, Chef? I'm sure you go out and check other pizza places. Do you see that where there's inconsistency in their pies? All the time?
And it's not even pizzerias. It's like all restaurants.
Yeah.
I hit a number of restaurants I try to share the wealth as much as possible. I don't eat pizza all the time. I go out, and,
yeah, and
have a variety. And a lot of venues I hit on a consistent basis, and I order the same item, and it's always different. And it's a lot of control that needs to be put in place by upper management or the owners of the venue. If it's not in place, then your staff aren't gonna follow just verbal. It has to be put in an employee manual. Our employee manual, we created it. It's like 100 pages. Yep. It's very in depth. And if you don't have in depth, if you don't have structure, then your staff don't have structure, and then they just do whatever they feel is right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not that they're not doing things incorrectly. They just feel that they're doing it the right way. Yeah. But it's not the best way.
And I've seen that thousands of times, right?
Right. So pizza's done. 160 grams. There's 13 slices of pepperoni on here. The dough is exactly 230 grams.
Why 13?
Say again?
Why 13?
Because it looks nice. It's even.
I was going to say that 13th pepperoni is the middle, right?
Actually, I'll tell you why we do that. I'll actually take this off and I'll do it real quick for you. Because when you count, your brain actually takes longer for you to count. So watch really carefully. One at 12 o'clock, one at 6, one at 3, one at 9, one at 2, one at 7, one at 5, one at 11, one in the center, and then 4 in a round. Done.
Love it.
I don't have to count. It's all about memory placement from a clock.
Yeah.
That's what we use.
Cool.
If I went like this, 1, 2, 3 in a circle, trying to count, I'll always lose my count because there's always something going on. Or, hey, chef, someone's asking me a question or whatever, and then I lose my count. Even though I know there's 13 slices on there. Right? But this way, if you use reference to something that is already embedded in your mind, because we've all, since basically birth, we know how to read a clock. Very simple. And a lot of my pizzas are based on clocks. So how they're placed on the pizza resembles a clock hand. And it's ingrained in your head. You don't even think about it. It becomes second nature.
Very cool.
One key way to expedite your output. So another thing about peels, all our peels are perforated.
Okay, just wait.
So if we have any excess semolina or flour on them, it'll just siphon off. Quick in. And that's it. Our oven is a combi oven. So it's natural gas and wood driven at the same time. So this is the wood that we use. We import this from Italy. My vendor in Toronto is Italiana Food Tech for this stuff. Fantastic. Spend the money. Because when you have a wood-fired oven, the biggest enemy is creosote. And I know this because I'm also a firefighter.
Okay.
Right? So high probability of chimney fires. Plus you have all the maintenance involved, the smell, the dirtiness, the soot, extra, so on and so forth. Multiple negatives for the one benefit of the aroma for your wood. Where this stuff here, what they do is they extract a creosote. And it's so soft that it breaks in half. One full log will give you 5 hours of burn time.
Oh, wow.
Burn, you have the beautiful aroma of wood without having all the crap that goes along with it.
Now, do you burn the same wood in a forno oven as you would in a smoker, like for smoking?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Say again.
Would you use the same wood, chef, for in a forno that you would for like a smoker, or would you not?
You could try. It's
Yeah,
a
okay.
trial and error. It does burn hot. You might need more than one log. But yeah, I use it for my oven for aromatic for my pizza. I'm sure it'll be fine in the unit that
Smoker.
In a smoker.
Yeah. Cool.
But the smoker is not like so much like smokers are usually more compact, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's probably a little bit easier to clean. Whereas if you look at my oven, I have a chimney stack that goes almost 15 feet up in the air, and then through the attic, and then another 10 feet on top of my roof. A little bit harder to clean. Yeah. So that's why we use it. But if you're for a smoker, you try it. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't be able to use it.
So what are you doing right now? Tell us.
So we're pulling it out.
Okay.
So what I always do is when I cook my pizzas, I always give it less time than more time. Because we just turned on the oven this morning. We're not usually operating at this time. It's a little bit cooler in there. It's not as hot as I would want. So instead of adding more time, I'd rather use less time. So if it needs another 10 seconds, you can always add 10 seconds. You never want to overcook your pizza because you never take away what you've already overcooked. Mm-hmm. So this is a spinner, very small diameter. And that's it's great when the oven is loaded because then you can go in between pieces and not interrupt the other pizza that still need to be cooked. So where's that camera?
Camera.
So pepperoni pizza, 20% cheese. That liner that I just put it on is actually a product from Sysco. So I'm sure everyone is familiar with these wax liners. We use this for our sandwiches. We don't use this for a pizza.
Now I have seen pizzas on those.
Yeah. So we use this stuff. It's hard to see, but it's corrugated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this liner here, because it's corrugated, allows an air travel underneath the pizza, and it doesn't make your pizza soggy. And I've looked far and wide for something like this, and Sysco, from what I can tell, this is the only vendor in Canada that sells this stuff.
Nice.
If you want good pizza, we're not on the same page. If you want exceptional pizza, because that's the only minimum standard I will ever drop to, buy this stuff, and you'll have an excellent product every single time that goes to your customer. If you have wax paper underneath your pizza, and you get it delivered, it'll be a soggy, utter mess. You put this stuff on, it lasts. It keeps your pizza at least 90% of integrity for about 30 minutes. So
awesome.
Then you also know how far you can take your pizza by transporting it. The other thing that we do is we don't use blades. We use rocker knives when we cut our pizzas, so we're not shoving all our toppings off the pizzas. This is a clean cut.
So very low investment, chef, for a restaurant to introduce pizza. Let's say this, very low investment for restaurants to introduce pizza into their menus.
It can.
If it was something that they wanted to do this spring and summer for their menus, they haven't done pizza before. Very low investment here to have a pizza on your menu.
You can. It all depends on how you go about it. The oven that I have behind me, not so cheap. But no. It's the Rolls Royce of ovens. It's a turntable. It's gas. It's wood. Touchscreen. It turns on for me in the morning when I don't need to be here. It's all remote control. It's wonderful, and it's high tech, which means I don't have to have high skilled employees. I can teach them. I can mold them how I want. If you go that route. Now there's also another route: electric ovens, not gas. Electric, and the way they're built is they have coils underneath, so you have an even cook throughout. Highly recommend. If you're getting into pizza, don't go this route unless you're very experienced already. If you're getting into pizza and you want to get into it slowly but create a good, exceptional product, with excellent quality control and customer service behind it, without a lot of headache, go electric deck oven. They hit 500 Celsius.
Yeah.
Pizza in 2 minutes, identically to this. You can't even tell the difference between this and electric deck oven visually. The only difference is aromatic, meaning if I have wood in here and I make a pizza and then I compare it to a deck oven, yeah, that's the only thing is one will smell like wood and the other one will not. Now, if I don't add wood, then there's no difference.
Yeah.
They look identically the same and they smell identically the same because the toppings will be the aromatic. Just I have the added benefit of adding wood. That's it.
Though photo ovens like that they must last for a lifetime.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This thing is like 5 tons.
Yeah.
They built it on site. I had to have a massive machine to bring it in. Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, very doable. Single deck oven. Like if you're adding pizza to an existing menu already, single deck oven. Offer pizza at different times in the day. Maybe when you're slower, to fill in those pockets. And then once it starts catching on, maybe you want to add a second, or the oven that you buy, make sure you is able to add a second deck or a third deck, right? You want it expandable. You don't want to get stuck with what you have.
Yeah.
The guys that I work with, actually everything in this building, my pizza tables, my ovens, my flash freezers, my refrigeration, for all the pizza products actually comes from Italiana Food Tech in Toronto.
Cool.
And the reason why I picked one guy is because I'm not stretching myself out. I know their product inside and out. I know their warranty. I know what to expect from them. When you start buying equipment from a ton of different vendors, you have a ton of different people you have to deal with, and it becomes very overwhelming. I like these people because not only do they obviously they sell you the equipment, but they back you at the same time. It's not like here's thanks for spending $100,000. See you later. No, they want you to succeed because they want you to spend another $100,000. That's how it works, right? My success is their success. I started with a deck oven when I first opened, single deck oven, and when I transferred from my previous location to this location, I started at 400 square feet. Now I'm in 2,500 square feet. I went with the big boy. Cool. I went back to the same company because they supported me in my old location, and I trust them. So, totally doable. Don't jump into it if you're not. Don't jump into it blindly. Find someone to guide you. So the School of Italian Pizza in Toronto, they guide you. There's others around as well. I know them because I teach with them. I'm very particular about who I align myself with. I align myself with Sysco. I align myself with School of Italian Pizza, Italiana Food Tech, Pizza Magazine. I'm very particular. So align yourself with people that will excel you, because in the end, it's your hard-earned money.
Yeah.
People will do their best, but in the end, it's really your choice. It's your hard-earned money. So make sure you spend it wisely and correctly. And by doing so, success will come.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, see, I don't have to run commercials, Chef. That was your PR commercial.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so
right.
I could be the poster boy for Sysco. No problem.
Awesome. So what's next, Chef?
All right, what's next? So we got pizza done. So now is the back end stuff, which may sound boring, but it's critical and could be exciting. So let's hold on that.
So, Chef, first of all, that pizza you made.
Yes.
Is it possible you could tell us the cost, or are we going to look at that right now?
Sorry, say again.
We're going to look at the cost of what a pizza like that you made.
Okay.
How much it cost?
We have the dough.
Yeah.
We have the tomato sauce. We have the cheese, and we have the pepperoni. We're not done. We have the box, and we have the liner. And then we don't have labels on our boxes, so we don't spend any extra money on that. Yeah. But when you build a menu item, specifically for a takeout, include everything: the box, the liner, the labels, whatever else you put on that box, a bag, napkins, plates. That's your menu item. Because if you don't add that, then you're lying to yourself and actually how much money you're spending on that product and how much you're making. So, for example, like that I didn't do the math right off the top of my head, but approximately that pepperoni pizza food cost is approximately, I want to say 18% food cost.
Wow. So great item to put in a menu for the summer and the spring if you want to make it.
Well, you know what's interesting is that the pepperoni pizza generates worldwide over 1 billion with a B dollars in revenue. Pepperoni pizza. So if you don't have pepperoni on your menu, please add it. It's the easiest pizza to make. It's the fastest you can whip out, and people love it.
Love it.
The pepperoni. Do your homework on the pepperoni. I spent 6 months trying to find the pepperoni that I use on here. Make sure and do a ton of testing. Make sure it cooks. Make sure it crisps on the edge. Make sure it doesn't look dull when it's cooked. If you can't eat it raw, then don't bother. Like here.
Hey, Chef.
I'll even prove it to you.
Chef, we have eating's allowed on the show, just so you know. We do have someone that actually Sean he owns a barbecue restaurant, would like to sell pizza in the future.
Yep.
We're gonna have to send him your email because he's gonna need.
I'd be happy to help him out.
Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
So let's get in on the wide view camera. I'm just gonna turn it on right now.
All right. Wide view. Chef's all high tech today. All right, where'd you go?
All right, so wide view is launching. Okay.
All right, here we go, Chef.
Did it launch? Okay.
Yeah, it's firing up right now.
Excellent.
It's like your oven. There we go, Chef.
All right, so let's kill the overhead view and the oven view one.
Yep. There we go. It's all yours.
So I put this together for you guys. This is what I normally teach on a full course. And a full course is a 2-day long course. It's quite intense. There's skills involved and all of these components. And that's actually held in Toronto.
Hey, Chef.
Yeah.
Chef, before we get started here, I have a comment that came across.
Sure.
What's your opinion on ham and pineapple?
Ham and pineapple. Sacrilege. People buy it. I have a lot of staff that that are totally against it. They do a sign of cross every time they have to make pizza. But it's all about flavoring. Some people love it. Some people don't. I know.
All right.
But you know what's interesting? I don't know if a lot of people know this, is that the pineapple pizza or the Hawaiian pizza was actually made by a Greek gentleman in Hamilton back in the 60s in Ontario.
That's awesome. I thought it was Canadian. Yeah.
It's definitely Canadian.
There you go, Kevin. There you go. The pizza
what makes a great pizzeria?
Okay, here we go.
All right, there we go. What makes a great pizzeria? So I have 12 key elements that really boost your success. So we have vision and passion. You got to know why you're doing it and what drives you. We have your branding. We have accounting, marketing, and advertising. Location is a big thing. Legal, nobody likes it, but it's inevitable. Design, layout, planning, decor. The paint that I use in my building is actually subconscious. So there's a lot of underlying meaning behind decor. So it's very important. Your point of sale system, your equipment, vendors and margins, food costing formula, and then support groups and mentors. So the 3 topics that we're going to quickly discuss are marketing, advertising, vendors and margins, and then food costing.
Cool. Right up my alley.
All right. So just a quick thing. Product creation. So earlier I showed you a tray with dough that was really laxed. And if you have dough that like cases or trays of dough that are laxed, you can't use them anymore. What normally happens? You have to toss them. And that's money down the drain. So instead, what we do is we make our lax dough into buns, and they last for another 4 days in the fridge. And if you freeze them, they last pretty much indefinitely. And we've done a lot of testing on them. You freeze them, You pull them out the next day for a deep thaw, and they're ready to go. So if you got like a deep freezer or a walk-in chiller, freeze all your buns, and they're ready to go for creation of anything else. So what we'll use our buns for now is sandwiches. We use it for just buns in general if people want to buy them. We use it for focaccia bread and garlic bread. Now, we've also added calzones. So wood-fired calzones, roasted calzones, using the same dough. Instead of half or the full pizza for a calzone, now it's obviously half, and you fold it over. So right beside it, sandwiches, I have 18% food cost. Calzones were at 15%. Buns are at 7%, because all you're really doing is it's the cost of the dough. There's nothing else added to it. Then we have the focaccia at 16 and garlic bread at 10. You have the bun plus your garlic spread. So when you understand your margins, those margins can be entered into your POS system. And your POS system depends on which one you run. We run Touch Bistro because I love the analytics it gives me.
Mm-hmm.
I can plug in there the food cost of that item. So at the end of the day, or even during the day, I can see where I'm at versus how much I've made and how much food cost I've spent. And in the end, it'll give me a total. So let's say a Friday, I make X amount of dollars, and at the bottom it'll say, okay, you've spent 17% of your overall gross on food costs, or 20%, depending on how much we sold that day. And every item is different than one another. So it'll give me an average, which is great to know, because at the end of the day, or at the end of the week rather, when I do my ordering, I know where and how much I need to buy for the next week, because it creates trends in analytics.
Mm-hmm. So, Chef, I got to ask you a question here before you flip that. How much is the pizza business about pizza or about business?
And it's more about business.
Okay.
100%. Like anybody can make a pizza. I can teach anybody to make a pizza. But if you don't spend the time and the effort to understand the back end and the logistics behind it, then I'm sorry to say that you'll fail.
Because a lot of people start restaurants and stuff and we love them for that, for the sake of they love cooking.
Yep.
But then they don't really realize the amount of business goes into the industry.
It's amazing. To be honest, I was one of those individuals, and I was on the brink of going bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
And then the reason why we're not bankrupt is that I invested a stupid amount of time in learning business, and then realizing, oh my God, I need to change how we do stuff. Yeah. So I reinvented myself. In the beginning, we were a pasta and sandwich place, and we added pizza. And then through all that transition, I realized food costing and formulas and margin, and being part of a community in my region, having a connection with customers on more than taking their money. It's more of a friendship basis. There's a lot of stuff that goes on owning a venue. Forget about pizza. Anything. It could be any restaurant. You could be fine dining. You could be takeout. You could be a burger joint. You could be a fried joint. It doesn't matter. You got to have all that back end. You have to have all that support in order to make that product. The product is a very small percentage of the business.
Cool. So, good answer.
Nice. You know what? I don't mean to burst people's bubbles, because I know a ton of us out there have the huge ambition of wanting to own their own venue and that desire to be their own brand. Stick with it. Don't let it die. Like, just invest in yourself. And if you invest in yourself, then everything else becomes easy. So the analytics gives you the profit and loss, and once you're able to figure out all those percentiles, then you know when to even open, for example. So right now we're in our winter season. I'm not open 8 or 9 hours. I open 3 hours a day. So today's Wednesday. We open at 4 o'clock today, and we run till 7. I make my entire day in 3 hours.
Wow.
If I opened at 12 o'clock, I'd sell maybe 4 pizzas.
Wow.
Maybe 10. Let's say we're best case scenario 10 pizzas. From 12 to 4, and then from 4 to 7, I sell 70 pizzas. Mm-hmm. So why would I stay open for 4 hours to sell 10 pizzas, and consume all my resources and staff to sell 10 pizzas, where I can open up 4, run a tight shift, and make 70 pizzas. Yeah.
Very true.
It's much more effective, right? And the only way you're going to be effective is by having the tools behind you that can give you that information. That's why I'm not pumping Tuspetro. There's many POSs out there, but make sure the POS you choose gives you all that data, all that information. Because if it doesn't, then you're just you're selling yourself.
It's tougher. It's tough. It's tough. It's very tough.
It's much tougher.
All right.
So food costing formula. So before we get into food costing formula, I want to backtrack a little bit. When it comes to marketing and social media, excellent advertising platforms, because they're free for the most part. You can get into what's called boosting, and then you actually spend money to hit a broader range of people. But for the most part, it's very inexpensive to do. But don't get overwhelmed. There's a ton of platforms out there. Do a little bit of research on where your demographic sits. My demographic sits on Facebook and Instagram. They don't do TikTok and Twitter and all that other stuff. They're more for the younger ages. You want to pick the people that actually have jobs and have money to spend. So my demographic is from age 25 and up until 80. So those 2 demographics sit on both Facebook and Instagram. So Facebook has about 2.8 billion participants, and Instagram has about 1 billion. And you don't need to advertise 100 kilometers from your venue. Be realistic about it. When you advertise or when you do social media, pick a 30 or 50 kilometer radius from where you are, and that's pretty much as far as people will commute to come to your venue. In addition to that, also try to build relationships with your customers. We have a fan club. It's free to sign up on my website, and you get inside information on what's happening at the venue. If we're having a promotion, you're going to get it first. If there's a coupon that's only for the club members, you only get it because you signed up. And I'll give back a little bit to your customers. Create loyalty with your fan base. When you do promotions, instead of doing a 2-for-1 promotion, do something that is going to benefit the community.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're still going to get money, but nobody really cares about a 2-for-1 promotion. They'll care about it because it's an immediate gratification because they're saving $10. But it stops there. The moment they get their food and they ingest it, done. You're no longer in their mindset. You're out of their minds. But if you give back to the community, even if you spend a little bit more money, you have to think about who supports you. You need to support them. It's not a one-way street. You gotta reciprocate. So we did a fundraiser. We actually donated food. We donated food to the hospital. They had 2 shifts running. We fed about 500 people. So I went through 600 pizzas. It cost me, I forget how much it cost me. Let's say it cost me $1,000. Okay. If you were to put an ad in the paper for $1,000, would run 1 week or a day, depends on where you are, and people would read it and they would forget. So we did this food effort to the hospital last year when COVID first hit, the first lockdown. People are still talking about it to this day. So my $1,000 was much more well spent feeding the hospital staff and the people that take care of us than spending $1,000 on an ad that nobody would care about. So think about when you do ads and promotions and discounts and specials, include the community. So when that happens, then you become the hero, and that's when you have community strength, and you are all the better in your business and creating more brand exposure.
Chef, I'm also just sharing. I'm sharing your website right
Yeah,
now.
sure. Feel free.
And everyone's seeing this. Had a request for it, so I love the fact of what you got on here. That you've got the showing your support. Well, they call you the Pizza Jedi. I like that too.
Yeah.
Kevin will like that.
That's my tagline on Instagram. Pizza Jedi.
Absolutely true.
That's
It's
my
just
dog.
amazing.
Yeah, he's the keeper. He's the keeper of treats.
Yeah, I love it. This is great.
So
And
all
then
my
you
staff are on
showcase
here.
all your staff.
I try to boost my staff as much as possible because in the end, honestly, you can't do it by yourself. You got to pick the right people. You got to have them part of your inner circle, and you got to treat them all with respect and dignity. And when you do that, you are pretty much unstoppable.
Awesome stuff. Beautiful pie.
To get that across
Look at that.
for when it comes to creating promotions and whatnot, keep that in mind when you're doing stuff. I feel that you'll have a more profound impact on your advertising and marketing when you include the community.
Very cool.
All right, so final portion of the talk is food costing. So a good way to understand your product that you're making, as you're building it, you have to weigh everything and weigh it down to the gram. So here's a quick way on how to achieve that. So you take your total product cost, whatever it may be, of that, if it comes in a case or it comes in a jar, total product cost, divide by total product volume in weight, grams. So if it comes in a 10 kilo case, it's 10,000 grams. Okay, so we're going to take cheese for example. So example, 20% shredded mozzarella. Let's say case price is $114. You divide the total case by 10 kilos, which is 10,000 grams. Are you catching the wide view?
Oh,
there we go.
There you go.
So let's do that again. All right. So total product cost divided by total product volume equals total product cost per gram. So that's your ultimate goal. So again, as I said, 20% share of mozzarella. The case price is $114. You divide it by total net weight, which is 10,000 grams, equals 0.0114 dollars per gram. So it's a fraction of a penny. But I know that I use 160 grams per pizza. So when you multiply 0.0114 by 160 grams, it comes to $1.82. That's how much money I'm spending on cheese when I build a pizza. Now, it seems like a very, very little amount, but what you really have to understand is the lower the food cost, the more money you have to invest back into your company. You can bring more staff in. You can hire more staff. You can train more people. You can buy more equipment. You can expand better. You can add delivery. You can do more. If you don't care about your profit or your food costs, which means you're not bringing as much money into the company. So instead of an 18% food cost on my pepperoni, for argument's sake, because I don't remember the exact number, it could be 30%, double. And then you have to add your wage cost to that as well. So let's say your wage cost is 20%, and that's low. Our wage cost is actually around 15 to 18%. That's how strict I run the business, so that we can bring as much money back into the business, so we can reinvest. But if you don't have a control of your food costs, then your expenditures may exceed your income, and that's where a lot of people fail. They have sufficient money in their bank account, but eventually it runs out because their food costs and their labor costs are so high that they're not bringing enough in, and now they have to dig into their savings to compensate.
Yeah, and you usually see that happen more than often. Like it's
Absolutely.
Pretty incredible
Absolutely.
how much that happens.
That's why there's a high turnover rate. More than 80% of any venue that opens up within 2 years dies.
Yeah.
That's why people don't like to invest in restaurants, because the back end is not being handled and back end is not being recognized and controlled. Yeah. So if you have a grasp on your back end, then you can build a proper business plan. And you can say, hey, this is what we are able to do, and then people have a better feeling of investing in you. Banks hate restaurants. They'll say, "Oof, stay away," because of the high failure rate. So, yeah. Jay, you're absolutely right. Restaurants have nothing to do about food. It's all business.
Yep.
It's just something
I agree.
we create.
I agree, and it's It actually, I think what happens too is a lot of people, the ones that do run it like a business opposed to like a restaurant, um, I think enjoy the fact that they get more involved in it. You're giving yourself more, in a funny way. There might be a little less stress, right? Because you're
Well, yeah,
running your
because
business,
now it's
right?
not a guessing game.
Yeah, it's not a guessing game. I remember reading someone saying to me, it's restaurants are like a retail business. You know how much a T-shirt costs you if you're selling shirts.
Yeah,
We should do the same when it comes to food, right?
absolutely. You need to know where you're at.
Yeah.
And in the food industry, stuff is expensive. Like, my God, like that oven behind me is like almost as much as my car. So, and if things break, well, you got to fix them. And then there's maintenance involved. There's gas involved, electricity. Like, everything's running 24 hours a day. People don't understand. There's a lot of back end that needs to, like, a lot of things that need to happen in order for us to open our doors. So whoever's listening, yeah, you know what, the food cost may be low on the pizza, and it sounds like we're making a lot of money, but really we're not. We're playing a very fine dance when it comes to margins on how to be open and be able to survive, especially during COVID. So because of COVID and the lack of volume that we've had to really think outside the box. Like, we totally jumped right outside the box. Normally, people would come in the building and they order their pizza and pick it up and on their way there. Well, we took a chainsaw and we cut a hole in the wall to put a pickup window, right? So so the customers would feel better, would feel safer, so they'd have to come to the building or be so close to one another. We did that. We adopted that. We adopted delivery, and I outfit my driver with authentic N95 masks, eyewear, touchless payment, the bags that are needed. We don't take cash anymore because of the transmission. I try to minimize as much exposure as much as possible. We got gloves everywhere, like no different than anywhere else. Yeah. We got the masks, but there's still food loss, right? There's still food wastage, right? So how do we minimize that? So we've adopted new menu items. We take our dough, we bake it into buns, and now we create sandwiches. Fire roasted sandwiches. Nobody has it, right?
The other thing I think you do, Chef, very well is on your website. I'm going to bring it back up here around COVID because it is the world we're in. I think you do an awesome job with this. And I want to share this with everyone that's watching today. Is Chef also puts out exactly on his website, and I don't see this very often, and it is recommended. There's a lot of organizations out there recommend for our industry is to tell people what you're doing, and that's what you're doing here, and tell them what you have and what you're no longer accepting cash. These are great.
Thank you.
Everything you said is on your website. So I know, as most people will go to a website or go to your Facebook page before they order from you to check out what's going on, this just recomforts them. And
thank you. I appreciate that. You know what? Great. There's no point in we have the information. Put it on the website. Inform your customers. Let them know how you do things, because there's so much misinformation going on around. This is how we this is how we run our operation. We don't accept cash. We accept everything else. And there's certain guidelines that we would like people to follow. And if you don't educate your patrons before they come to the venue, then you're creating a bad experience before it even happens. Mm-hmm. So the one thing that we sell, we actually don't sell pizza. Here's another little tip behind the scenes. We don't sell pizza. We don't sell sandwiches. We don't sell drinks. We don't sell any of that. The number one thing that we sell is an experience. Now, it could go two ways. It could be a negative experience or a positive experience. So by me educating my potential patrons about how we do things on my website, then they're aware. So they come here and they know what to expect. And that creates a positive experience.
Yeah.
If I didn't put that on my website, they come here not knowing how we do things, and they get frustrated. Wouldn't you get frustrated? I know I would. Right?
Well, yeah, and it just adds value to your brand, right?
Absolutely.
To what you're doing. It's adding credibility. It's giving me comfort. You're looking out for my best interest, and you're upfront about it, right?
Yeah, there's nothing to hide. We're not.
Nothing to hide. Yeah.
Right? This is how we do things. We don't take cash. A lot of people have given me grief about not accepting cash. A lot of people don't know this. If you go on the Bank of Canada's website, they clearly state that not accepting cash is not illegal.
Yeah.
You do not have to accept cash because there's so many other forms of payment available. Now, if we were in a society where there was no other cash, no other way of paying, and cash was the main thing. You can't pay with a goat. I'm sorry, you have to pay with cash. But because we live in our society, there's multiple ways to pay, and it is not illegal to not accept cash. Bank of Canada clearly says it on their website, because I did the research before we adopted that policy.
Awesome, Chef. So, Chef, is there anything else you want to go over quick here as we wrap up today? What's your last words to the industry? Being the pizza master Jedi of Canada, what's your last words to the industry out there?
No
I always ask this with our guests.
You know what? Success is there. Do your research. Follow your heart. Follow your dreams. Don't let other people mislead you because of their fears or their insecurities. They're not you, and they don't know what you're capable of. So, you know what? Drive forward. I'll quote Jim Carrey. It's better to fail at something that you love than fail at something that you hate. Because you're not failing. Because when you fail, it's experience. You get off, you brush yourself off, and you do it again. And now you're not starting from zero anymore. Now you're starting from experience. So keep on pushing forward.
Yeah, make mistakes, right?
Yeah, mistakes are your best lessons. They're your best teachers. I made 1,000 mistakes in my previous joint, and moving forward, I still make mistakes. But you know what? I'm the better chef for it.
I've made a few mistakes too, Chef.
We all have. And if you say you never made a mistake, you're lying through your teeth.
Exactly. Well, Chef, I can't thank you enough for spending the day with us today and doing all these different things, coming in early, showing us your pizza, giving us insights beyond mind-blowing insights and great ways restaurants can introduce pizza. We've got people asking for you to contact them. And they can, I think they can go on your website. And
they can reach me out through my email.
Yeah. So reach out, and Chef, all the best to you.
Thank you,
Hope to see you soon, and I can't wait to visit and have some pie with you. And
absolutely.
It's gonna be awesome.
If I may do a recommendation, the shipwreck pizza.
Okay, I will.
Take a look at
Is that your favorite? That's your favorite?
It's a signature dish that we sell.
Okay.
It will be a gold medal in Europe.
Okay, perfect.
Right.
So everyone else, we're back again tomorrow with another show on Spring Takeout. We got Spring Takeout ideas from Weston. Also, we have restaurant owner consultants from the U.S. joining us, Jim and Joe. And then also we have Alex from Modern coming in and showing us a new app for takeout for the spring. So all the best, Chef. Outstanding, and take care, okay?
Thank you. You as well. Take care.
Awesome. All the best.
Restaurants are the share.
Still there? Did it really?
Yeah, it died like briefly in the middle of the box, like we started it back up.